Finally, just yesterday, Robin DiAngelo issued a statement, and it's lengthy. It is also everything that you'd want from Robin DiAngelo, from a Robin DiAngelo statement. Posted to her website on Thursday, her statement is titled, "About That Film, ... And here's what she says in part. Quote, "Back in 2023, I was contacted by a group who claimed to be making a documentary film called Shades of Justice about efforts to address racism in the United States. They plan to interview anti-racist activists, authors, and thought leaders in service of supporting the cause of racial equity. They offered me between $10,000 and $20,000 for an interview. I said, let's meet in the middle with $15,000, and I agreed to participate. I have since donated that sum to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund." Now, side note here, Shades of Justice is, in fact, one of the organizational names that we used, while we were making this film. What does Shades of Justice mean? It doesn't really mean anything, but we figured it's the kind of meaningless name that would resonate with the woke crowd, and it did. I'll also say that I appreciate Robin's generosity in meeting in the middle with just $15,000. She really gave us a deal. You see, it was a bargain. We talked to her for about 2 hours, 15 grand, it's about, a little over $7,000 an hour. She's very generous of her to only charge us that much.
All right, so here we are with Matt Walsh on his YouTube channel, and he's talking about Robin DiAngelo, author of notorious race grifter, race hustler Robin DiAngelo, who wrote a book called White Fragility and considers herself an anti-racism activist. And she, of course, was one of the people who was taken in by Matt Walsh's documentary, Am I Racist?, which apparently is hilarious. I've seen some clips. It looks hilarious. Hasn't come here to Europe yet, at least not where I live. But apparently it is absolutely hilarious, and the mainstream critics are refusing to review it. Go check it out on Rotten Tomatoes. Apparently a few have reviewed it, but Rotten Tomatoes is refusing to even show the critics' reviews. Absolutely. That's a whole nother scandal right there. So anyway, Robin DiAngelo has now issued an official statement about how she was taken in by Matt Walsh and the Daily Wire to be interviewed for this film. And as you just heard, she was paid $15,000 for a 2-hour to give a 2-hour interview. Yeah, nice work if you can get it. Man, I think I better get in on this race grift thing. It sounds like, I can see why she does it, why not? I think I'll become a self-hating anti-white activist. I need to get on that gravy train. Okay, let's see where this goes.
She continues, quote, "When I arrived for the interview, a few things felt off. The grips would not make eye contact with me, and the interviewer, who was introduced as Matt, appeared to be wearing an ill-fitting wig." Now, let's stop here again, Robin. First of all, the wig fit very well. It was a nice wig. That was an authentic wig. It was made from real human hair. I harvested the hair myself from a homeless guy in exchange for a Snickers bar and a bottle of Jack Daniels. Second, more to the point, you claim that you noticed I was wearing a wig the moment you sat down, and yet you still did the interview? In your version of events, okay, the crew was nervous and shifty, which they weren't, but this is what you're saying. And you come in, you see that, you sit down, there's some guy sitting there with an ill-fitting wig. Things felt off, yet, Robin, you still sat there and talked to me on camera for 2 hours. Whose fault is that? If what you say is true, then we can only conclude that you were willing to do anything just for the money, which is basically the whole point of the movie. So thank you for emphasizing the point for us. Reading on, quote, "Matt presented himself as someone new to anti-racist work and seemed earnest, and his questions did not come across as adversarial. By the end, however, things got weird. Matt asked what I thought about reparations for Black Americans. I said that I agreed with reparations, but that it was not my area of expertise. He then pulled up a chair and invited a Black crew member who went by Ben to sit down with us, took out his wallet and handed Ben some cash. He said that if I believed in reparations, I should also give Ben cash. While some Black people have asked white people to engage in reparations by giving directly to individuals, reparations are generally understood as a systemic approach to past and current injustice. The way Matt set this up felt intended to put Ben and I on the spot. Because Matt was pushing this on us, I expressed my discomfort and checked in with Ben to be sure that he was okay with receiving cash in this way. Ben reassured me that he was, so I went to my wallet and handed him my cash, and the interview ended. Okay, so let's back up here and review again your version of events, Robin. You walked into the room to do an interview with an organization that you knew very little about. Things felt off, you say. The interviewer was wearing a strange wig. Then the interviewer, in this wig, forces a black man to sit down and receive cash reparations. You felt like the whole thing was a setup and intended to put you on the spot, but you still paid the reparations. Even in spite of all that, you still paid. That's your defense. That's what you're saying. Now, as for me, I don't want to give spoilers away for the film. I don't care how many times some of these spoilers have been reported by the media. I refuse on principle to officially confirm the legitimacy of any of the spoilers. Everybody will have to go to the theater this weekend to watch Am I Racist for themselves and see what exactly happens. But if what you say is true, if it is true, then it would seem to make you not only a fool, but a money-grubbing grifter, which again is sort of the whole point of the film. I will say that your assumption that my black friend, Ben, was manipulated into taking part in this alleged reparations exercise is quite demeaning and infantilizing to him. No great shock coming from the woman who demeans and infantilizes black people for a living. If this reparations thing actually did happen, as you claim, how do you know Ben was not a willing participant? In fact, how do you know that he wasn't forcing me to do it? Maybe I'm the innocent victim in all this. Have you thought about that, Robin? Continuing on, she says, after reviewing the sequence of events and discussing it with colleagues, I realized that they had lied about their agenda and I had been played. I spread the word on my networks. Unfortunately, last month I started receiving hateful and misogynistic emails. Some referenced the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro's website, which announced that the film is indeed being released. It's not titled Shades of Justice, nor is it meant to support the anti-racist cause. It is a Borat-style mockumentary titled Am I Racist? And designed to humiliate and discredit anti-racist educators and activists. Their deception was carefully planned and well-funded. The interviewer was, in fact, Matt Walsh, a far-right provocateur, backed by Shapiro and Daily Wire Plus, and yes, wearing a wig. Am I Racist is not only about me, and I was not the only one who fell for their deception. Sadly, many of those being mocked are women of color.
Check it out. It looks like now we're capitalizing color in women of color, but we're not capitalizing women. That's interesting. And anyway, how does Robin DiAngelo know if someone is a person of color? I mean, is she a biologist? How does she know if she's a woman of color? Is she a biologist? Oh, it's just so satisfying to see a mega grifter get grifted. Absolutely fantastic. And all the points what Matt Walsh is making here, of course, are perfect. He didn't actually do anything to them. He simply let her talk, and she just exposed her grift to the world. Absolutely brilliant. I read somewhere, by the way, that her area of research is whiteness studies. Have you ever heard of such a thing? Now, you have to admit, whiteness studies, that sounds like something that you would get from KKK University. Whiteness studies.
I've not seen the film, nor do I plan to watch it, so I don't know how they have used any of my interview or how they've edited it. But if you see clips of the full film, consider the source, Matt Walsh. So who is Matt Walsh and what is his and his backers' agenda? Luckily for us, he has clearly answered that question without shame time and time again. She then goes on to quote and provide a link to Southern Poverty Law Center's hit piece on me. They say that I'm a white supremacist shock jock, etc. All in all, much of what she says about me and the Daily Wire and our film is not true, especially when she claims that our film was well-funded. In fact, this was a very low...
Okay, enough of that. Yeah, the Southern Poverty Law Center is absolutely not an organization to be taken seriously. Or I put it that way, it's for me, it's sort of in the same camp as the ADL. Very well-funded, very anti-white. It claims, I mean, it is basically a hate group. It is a hate group. If they're calling you a hate person or a hate group or whatever they call you, yeah, then you know, I would say you probably know you're probably doing something right, if anything, because I consider them a hate group. They're awful. Anyway, great points by Matt Walsh. Congratulations again on Am I Racist? I do hope it comes to a cinema near me. And from what I've seen and from the audience reviews over on Rotten Tomatoes, it is absolutely hilarious. Let me know if you've seen it. Please let me know in the comments what you think. I would love to hear some commenters here, some of my viewers, give me some feedback on it. Anyway, that's it for today. Like and subscribe, please. Helps me to grow the channel and keep making content for you.